Welcome, folks, to Firm, a special edition in regard to follow-up information on the Robbins Lumber Company fire and explosion. Fundraisers were launched as many remain hospitalized just days after the fire that took place on May 15th at this Maine lumber mill. As you can see, we do have couple of pictures here from the internet online to show that, of course, unfortunately, firefighter Andrew Cross lost his life in the explosion that happened there at the lumber mill in the Robbins lumber mill in Searsmont back on May 15th. His funeral services will be held on Friday, May 22nd in his hometown. Also, we want you to know, everybody, that by firm standards, we are always making sure that those who serve, not just as firefighters, emergency responders, and first responders, all get the credit that they deserve. And a lot of them, as we said, folks, the key word is volunteer, and they do it without hesitation, just as Mr. Cross did, and we thank him very much for his service, and God rest with all sympathies to his family. Investigators with the state office of the state fire marshal and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives still investigating the fire. Strong winds have interrupted the investigation at times, causing flying debris, and one ATF investigator sustaining a minor injury related to difficult site conditions. Robbins Lumber is fully cooperating with investigators, and portions of the mill can, believe it or not, folks, still operate safely while the investigation continues. Now, operational activities focused heavily on scene documentation, evidence preservation, aerial mapping, and ongoing witness accounts. Investigators also examined similar mill infrastructure and electrical systems to understand the facility layout and operational processes better. 2 mill owners and family members were hospitalized. 2 of the owners, Alden and James Robbins, were at last notice still hospitalized at Mass General Hospital on Monday night. That would have been the 18th of May. Searsmont EMS member Lillian Robbins, who is a family member of the Robbins family, is also hospitalized at Mass General Burn Center. The family issued a statement in this regard. They have a long road to recovery ahead, but they are in the very best hands, and we look forward to their return. The Robbins family declined to accept fundraising or donations for their family, and here's what you can do, ladies and gentlemen. While we are deeply touched by this generosity, the family statement continues, we respectfully ask that any contributions instead be directed to your local fire departments or to the Shriners in honor of the firefighters and families impacted by this tragedy. A few extra notes here on this brief edition of Firm as we honor those firefighters and first responders who gave all, and some are still recovering. The massive explosion that took place on May 15th. Searsmont Fire Assistant Chief Wayne Woodbury, EMS Chief Sarah Tompkins, Belmont firefighter Catherine Page, and Montville firefighter Jacob Spalding, and Mill employee Thomas Wolf are all still hospitalized at Maine Health Medical Center. Maine Health Maine Medical Center is where they are hospitalized, according to the Department of Public Safety. Page, Catherine Page, Belmont firefighter, is also a lieutenant firefighter in Northport and has many surgeries ahead. Pray for them, folks. An online fundraiser started by her family has raised nearly $10,000 of a $13,000 goal. Amazing. A co-owner of a fine line farm in Searsmont, along with her partner, Hubert McCabe, name was missing, who served as a Searsmont Select Board member before resigning after the explosion. Spalding, a young volunteer first responder, suffered serious burns, and a girlfriend, Natalie, was at the site of the explosion and drove part of the way to the hospital before an ambulance met them. Jacob Spalding, his full name, according to a fundraiser for his medical bills, said he now faces a long and challenging road to recovery, but we, I mean those who support him and family, are thankful that with time he will be okay. 4 firefighters, mill employee released from hospital. 5 altogether released from the hospital, including Searsmont Fire Chief James Ames, Lincolnville firefighter Aaron Heald, Appleton Fire Chief Clifton Mariner, and mill employee John Ward, according to the Department of Public Safety as well. And lastly, folks, on this statement, and supporting everyone here, including the family of Andrew Cross, support all firefighters and fire crews, and pray for all that were involved and still dedicated to operating Robbins Lumber Mill in Searsmont. Mr. Heald, going back a page here, ladies and gentlemen, we want to make sure we have his name correctly, and I believe we do. Mr. Heald is Aaron Heald, a Lincolnville firefighter. Aaron Heald had suffered burns to his hands, according to Brian Clement, an organizer of the group GoFundMe. And finally, Mr. Heald's recovery is going to take a couple of months before he is able to go back to work, wrote Mr. Clement. The town of Lincolnville is covering the entirety of his medical costs, and financially, he said, he is going to be perfectly fine until he goes back to work, so he has deferred his share of the GoFundMe to many others who need it. That's the kind of dedication you run into, folks, with people who are in the firefighting business, industry, perhaps. Dedication, volunteer, just like Mr. Cross did, trying to rescue others. He gave his life to save them. If you know anybody or anyone in your family is a firefighter, regardless of whether they have that as a full-time position or a volunteer, especially a volunteer, support fire crews everywhere in our state. And keep remembering, folks, right here, to pray for Robbins Lumber, that it will return to normalcy and production. As for us here at Firm, folks, Mark Merrill, we are all about truth, facts, reality, and common sense, folks. Right here. And truth matters. In the meantime, everyone stay safe. Pray for all these people. Make a donation to your local fire department on behalf of the Belmont, on behalf of the Robbins Lumber Company in Searsmont. Everyone, Safe travels. In the meantime, make this a priority over the next several days and weeks ahead while these people we've mentioned recover. Peace to all.